How's it going, guys? Hey, I want to talk today about some tricks and traps when you get charged for domestic violence. Some of the things to be careful for, because they'll charge both parties if they talk to you long enough. So you and your girlfriend or your significant other have an argument and the neighbors call the cops, which happens a lot. A lot of times they'll show up an hour or two later after everybody's calmed down and let you hit each other and make marks on each other and other things, and let you, get real hot and red, and then they'll show up and they'll start talking to you. Well, the goal for the police is to contract with you at any time that they try to talk to you. They're absolutely holding court with you. They're policy enforcers, they're contractors, and they do their jobs well. And they will even say they will get you for interfering with an investigation if you don't cooperate and give them what they want. It's really a no-win situation. They're going to charge somebody eventually, and they will talk to you long enough. Their goal is to talk to you long enough where they can get both parties. Now, either the man or the woman will start arguing with them, or one of them will tell the whole story and they'll be lying. Well, they fell on the bricks and their head hit the side of the fence, and it was an accident. That's really what they want you to do, is they want you to lie. They really do. They want you to lie. They want you to stretch it. They want you to tell 2 or 3 stories so they can give you a ticket or they can take you to jail. So they're not there because they're concerned about you're going to kill the other person. They're really not. They're there to give you the ticket and get their little bit of money from you and cause you problems and take you to court and say that there's a restraining order now when there is no restraining order. There's a process that must be done to get a restraining order. You have to go to court. They give you the opportunity to talk, to say your piece, and they either give you a restraining order or they don't. Okay? And then the restraining order is on both parties. So it's really not like you think. Common sense really doesn't have much to do with it, because common sense is totally different these days, if you understand what I'm saying. So in Ohio, that's where I'm actually located, I've seen it through the years. In the 90s and the early 2000s, they would take the guy to jail automatically, no matter who the aggressor was. And then what they found out was the woman would come forth and try to write the judge and tell a totally different story to soften it for her mate that's in jail, that's up on charges for domestic violence and assault. And the women would even go as far to say that the cops is the one that wrote the story down, and that's not what they actually said. And they will go in there and get themselves wrapped up in a trick bag that they have no idea what they're doing. Now, sometimes, because some courts are very aggressive and they're very vindictive, sometimes they'll take the woman and charge her for actually lying, and then they'll take her children. Or they will threaten her to take her children and to put her in jail if they don't tell the truth. Okay? And if they don't give them that warning, then they're kind of setting them up for failure. If they get them in court, which they got to come and testify in a lot of cases, if they get them in court and they tell a different story, they just determine they're lying, they put them in jail, and then the relatives have to take the kids, or the children's services take the children. They don't realize that they can get themselves, worked into a somewhat of a snare in life. And it's really incredible how many people will fight with their partner and end up going to jail. And then the craziest thing is both of them get into a lying position, and they will both go to jail, or they will both be on probation, and then drug tests come in because they've been doing drugs, or alcohol tests come in because they've been drinking alcohol, or they were drinking alcohol at the time. So my real advice is to don't talk to the police. They're holding court with you. They're contracting with you. If you've handled your own personal affairs, then tell them that you don't need to file charges on anyone, and you don't need the police assistance, and thank them for showing up and caring. But it's a family matter, and you don't want to discuss anything, and do not let them in. Shut the door on them. It's only because you cooperate and you think that if you tell the story and you lie that you're going to get out of it, which is totally the opposite. Somebody's going to go to jail, and then either the wife or the husband's going to go to jail, and maybe they're a breadwinner. Maybe it's going to attack the family's monetary system. They're not going to be able to pay the bills like they would, or the mother isn't there to take care of the children. And what's discovered by the other party is they made a big mistake by arguing and getting the police involved, regardless if the police show up or not. If a neighbor calls, or if one of the parties call the police, you all have to stop that nonsense, because they're going to beat you. They're contracting officers, okay? Yes, they're civil and they're criminal. But the reason they come is they want to talk to you, and they want you to tell them the whole story. And then they start pulling up people's sleeves and looking at their necks and looking at their stomachs and their backs to see if there's any marks. So then they're going to be witnesses, and they're going to slam you in jail. It's going to affect the whole family down to the children, is why I'm doing this. Because you need to think this through and not get a domestic violence, and don't have the police coming to the house, because they're masters of illusion, and they're going to get you. They're going to talk you right into the contract. Because if you don't keep your mouth shut and you don't tell them we don't need your assistance, one of you is going to jail, or both of you eventually, and the possibility of losing the children. And that's a big mess, because it'll be a year if you work hard to get your children back, if you do get them back. So just my thoughts for today. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon.